I hope you hear the disappointment in my voice. I just finished watching the Obi-Wan-Kenobi series. I started watching it around my sister, and I remember saying to her, man, they basically have this show written for them. Like, it doesn't take a lot of hard work to make a good show following a beloved character that you can do so much with him. How could they screw it up? And then I remember catching myself because my sister started laughing, and I was like, well, it's Disney. They can screw anything up. And boy, Disney messed this one up royally. Disney took a route that could have been very successful because, like most of their shows, it has bits and pieces of stuff that is really good. But the execution is just plain awful. When thinking about what could have been done better for this series, just a few things come to mind. 1, get rid of Reva. I know there was this humongous controversy surrounding her because of her race. Ignoring her race, I don't care if she was black, white, or any color of the rainbow. Her character was one of the worst characters I've seen since Admiral Purple Hair. She wasn't good at all. She was just pure annoying. Her arc, her whole story did not need to be there. Second, the time. A 10-year jump, 10 years since Revenge of the Sith. At first, that sounds like a really smart idea. But once you start kind of breaking down what happened in this story that they made, it doesn't make sense whatsoever. Here's what I mean. There are certain elements that after 10 years it doesn't work anymore. Luke met Obi-Wan-Kenobi for the first time ever in A New Hope when he was 20 or 17 or 18 or 19. But it doesn't work because, he's never met Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope, and yet in this show he met Luke. Now, I know you can chop it up to, it's young age, you're not gonna exactly remember everything, but still, with the way they portrayed these kids, which to me is another problem, but we'll get to that later, these kids should have a memory and a noggin of gold and steel and the best ever. They should remember that they met a guy named Obi-Wan Kenobi who gave them gifts, and so when they meet him in the future, they'll be like, hey, I remember you. So the time jump doesn't really make sense when you put it in that perspective. I think the show would have benefited from having a shorter time jump. Instead of 10 years after the events of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, maybe they should have made it 4 years. The PTSD plotline is one that I was okay with personally. I didn't mind it, but as of lately, I have seen this same exact plotline play out so much, it's kind of getting annoying. It's getting overplayed. It's becoming over cliched. I don't want to see it anymore because it's nothing new. The good thing about it is that they did do it right and they did a nice payoff in episode 6. I will give it that. The second fight scene with Vader and Obi-Wan was everything it should have been and more. That was done perfectly. Another thing that came to mind about the time jump that the show would have benefited from if it had done a shorter one is Vader. I was explaining this to my mom as she was watching. When they were watching the show, right? And in the last episode, Obi-Wan's he will stop chasing the special trade route. I forgot the name already. Those people that free the Jedis or whatever. He will peel off just to chase Obi-Wan Kenobi. And as I was explaining, I said, the wounds are fresh. And then I caught myself. No, Anakin's wounds aren't fresh. It's been 10 years. It's been 10 years since what happened to him happened. And yeah, there's such things as holding on to a grudge or something, but it would have benefited better if it was closer to when it originally happened. 10 years just seems too long. It's wow, really? You've done all the evil in the world. that you could possibly imagine, and you're still holding on to this one thing like a little baby? Jeez, grow, Darth Vader. It's been 10 years already. Like, if it was 5 years, again, I'd understand. It's like you're still technically in your infancy phase, right? It makes sense if he's still immature. But after 10 years, I don't know. Another problem I have, and I slightly touched on this with Reva, is the actors. Leia. Every single time Leia was on screen, I just either wanted to hit skip, or just like when she was in peril, I kind of wanted her to just die. She was annoying, man. I was annoyed by her presence. The same feeling I got with Reva, I got with Leia. And it's this thing with Disney. They have this feeling like if it's a girl on screen, she's got to know everything. She's got to be a complete and total the best at everything. There are female characters that they're good at everything and great at everything, but it is natural. Like Rey, who gets everything she wants to at once, and then you have someone like Ellen Ripley from Aliens who earned it. She earned her spot on that ship. She earned her spot after defeating the aliens twice. The reason that her character is so beloved is because she has earned our love. And that's just not the same thing that's happened with this Leia here. Like, this isn't the same Leia from the show. She's so almost arrogant. That's the thing with a lot of female characters these days. I'm just telling you, look, it'll start to bother you, and I'm sorry, but just watch for how many times a female character is written to be completely arrogant. And they'll pass it off as if it's something like female confidence or whatever, but it's just annoying. Like, they don't do this for the guys. Like, at least be equal about it. Make a guy as arrogant as the females, all the guys. But no, they don't. They'll instead dumb down every single male there is and let him step aside for the female characters. There's that. I went on a bit of a tangent there. There's also the fact that, like, Luke and Leia, both of their characters were just wrong. So on top of the fact that you kind of got that little feminist thing there in that show, and I know my sister and both said, we'll give it to them. They're saying that they're kind of exaggerating on certain traits to show that, yeah, they're really their parents' children, right? They're like Padme, but, they made, for example, Leia super smart. She would figure out things no child would ever figure out. And yeah, okay, fine. They might explain it in the end as, you have your mother's wisdom, which Bail Organa said to Leia in the final scene of the final episode. But you know what else they could have said? You have your parents' stupidity. They could have put that in there somewhere, because both Anakin and Padme in the series had very questionable moments where it's like, why did you do that? But it made sense because it's something a real human being would do. They would do dumb things that don't make sense. And then, like, they don't follow their own logic, right? Leia's so smart, except when she isn't. For example, in, I believe it was episode 2, Leia's, like, figuring out every single thing to do with Obi-Wan-Kenobi. Oh, you're not a Jedi? Oh, no, you are a Jedi. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. Oh, you must have lost somebody. Oh, you're still scared. She would figure out everything on her own, making logical decisions, right? Logical decision after logical decision. And then all of a sudden, she just gets mad at him and starts running away from him. Now, if she's such a smart girl that you've shown us that she is, right? At least stick with that. You're saying she's a smart girl, okay? Keep her that she's smart. If she knows she's being hunted and she's safe with Obi-Wan Kenobi, why would you run away from him in a city and make all the commotion in the world? During that episode, I went, yeah, they literally just did this because they had absolutely nothing to do. And that's true. Like, the whole thing with Reva, she wasn't needed in the story. She wasn't needed. She was only there to eat up time. Because, for some reason, whoever was given this story had nothing to do. And I mean, there's so much that you could have done with Obi-Wan-Kenobi. This is not... You literally had the story given to you on a platter. You had it from the third movie. Yoda said, go to Tatooine. Your training there will be. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but I know he said something along those lines. Qui-Gon will teach you. We got that at the end. Literally 2 seconds. And those 2 seconds were better than a majority of this whole TV show. A majority. You know, they messed up Boba Fett. And they messed it up by focusing too much on the Mandalorian, destroying Boba Fett's character, which Boba Fett was a mysterious character, but there was one thing that was absolutely known about him, and that was this. He is a bad guy. And for some reason, and I mean, I have a feeling I know why, but we'll just pretend we don't. Disney decides to take this guy who is known as a bad guy and turns him into a good guy. That's like taking a character like the Punisher and saying he doesn't use guns no more. He uses Nerf bullets. It's not him. This is not the character I know. This is not... It almost feels like they're trying to be kind of politically correct, and like, I'm sorry, but that's what it feels like. I hate to be using that P word, politically correct, and they're trying to say, hey, we can't have a TV show about an anti-hero or about someone who does morally wrong things. No, it's so dumb, it hurts my brain. Yes, that was my mini review of the Book of Boba Fett. Absolute garbage show. 3 out of 10. Okay, I'm not sure if it would be 3 out of 10. I was kind of kidding there. It'd be in the low area, definitely. Back to Obi-Wan-Kenobi. You know what? Now that I've kind of gone over the negatives, what could have been done better, which was time jump, get rid of Reva, literally those 2 things. Let me just clear this up here. Reva herself, I believe her name is, in real life, the actress, Moses Ingram. I think that's her name. I haven't looked it up. I don't care. She is not a bad actor. I heard that she's actually an Oscar-winning actress, and she's probably a great actress. So for the people who are like, yeah, no, it's just because of something, which I'm not going to mention to alienate anybody on this channel. It's just because of this. That's why she's a bad actor or something. No, it's not. You're dumb if that's what you think. I'm sorry, you are. But it's because the direction. Recently, I actually saw a clip. There's this YouTube channel called Studio C. Their videos used to be incredibly funny. Now, I would just like everybody to know I am not Mormon, and I know they're owned by a Mormon company, but I'm not Mormon. I'm just clearing with everybody. But they used to make videos that were incredibly funny, and all of the actors on that channel were absolutely amazing. They then switched everyone, all the actors, and their sketches were not funny anymore. They were actually stupid. They're good sketches. I can only count on like both of my hands, and that's it. And they've made like 300 sketches, and they're still making sketches today. And we were like, oh, with the original, my brother and sister and I, we were like, oh, with the original cast, they would be able to make this stuff so funny. Then we kind of had to eat our words because they brought an original cast member back. And it wasn't funny. It was actually kind of cringe. And we were like, what? They have literally the best actor from the last group. Why is it not funny? And recently I realized the direction. It doesn't matter how good of an actor you are. If you do not have a good director, a good screenwriter behind the camera, you're not going to have a good product in front of the camera. This is not this actress's fault. Reva, her character, it's not her fault. she did the best she could. She probably could have given a little bit more of a convincing performance. I'll give it that. I'll say that. Because sometimes it seemed like she wasn't even trying. Like, there were a few moments I was genuinely laughing at her. But aside from that, I would say it was probably the direction and the producers and the writers' fault also. So don't just blame her. But now that I've harped on a ton of the negatives of the show, which, again, there were a lot, let's look at some of the positives, shall we? First, we have the fact that they have shown Darth Vader some respect. Now, we've gotten some Darth Vader respect in the past. And when we have, it has been good. Rogue One. That's what I was pointing at if you couldn't see it. Rogue One had this scene at the end that got so much fans cheering because it was showing Darth Vader literally wreck an entire crew of rebel fighters. And still to this day, that movie and that scene are de pièce de résistance. It's a great scene. Seeing Darth Vader just absolutely beast mode his way through that hallway every single time gets me going, and I'm just like so pumped up after watching it. And this show finally gave Darth Vader some more of that respect, showing him truly in his prime, you know. Like, if you haven't seen the show, I suggest just not watching it, but literally look up this on YouTube right now. Obi-Wan-Kenobi, episode 5, Darth Vader. Look those words up, and then you will need no explanations. Genuinely, I was standing up and screaming when I saw that happen. My family all looked at me like I was a weirdo. I couldn't care. But I was getting up, and I was literally screaming and clapping and going, woo! Thank God they did that. And for 5 seconds, I forgot that I was watching a crap show. And then it was over. So that was great. Literally everything that they did with Darth Vader was pretty good. Although, and I kind of touched on this earlier, and I'll touch on it again. Although I wasn't a huge fan of the PTSD thing, I do think they showed it well. I think the payoff was done really nicely. They kind of showed Obi-Wan from the sniveling little coward in the first episode and the second episode and third episode, and he was improving little by little. Third episode was kind of his lowest point. He got absolutely served by Vader, and again, that was another scene when they snapped that kid's neck. I was like, oh, what? They did that? How did they do that? Oh my, I never thought they would do that. Vader served Obi-Wan, if you didn't know. Vader destroyed him. But then, like, in episode 4, he rescues Leia, and it was all done pretty nicely. It showed him using the Force more. Slowly, every episode he would use a little bit more of his power, and that was kind of nice to see. Episode 4, I was motivated, but episode 5, I barely saw him use the Force, and was like, bro, where are you? But they saved it for a good reason, because episode 6, his lightsaber battle with Vader, I have to say, it is one of the more worthy lightsaber battles of canon. It was actually done pretty well. I was kind of standing up during it. The only thing about the fight was that story-wise, it doesn't make too much sense. Like, they showed that Obi-Wan was so good, he could have killed Darth Vader right on the spot, but he didn't. It was just kind of a bad decision. I would have done it where there was no way for either of them to kill each other, because then that would make more sense, you know, overall, because Vader's still in the original movies. And we know that's why Obi-Wan didn't kill him in the end of this show. He didn't kill him not because he didn't want to, it was because he couldn't, because then the movies wouldn't happen. Unless they had like a multiverse explanation, which we obviously know they wouldn't. But if they took this fight and maybe did it that like they were split up, and I know we've seen that before, but split up by something, that would have been better. Instead of literally Obi-Wan walking to the guy, straight up to the guy's face who killed like millions of people, and then walking away and letting him live. It's like, you just allowed Alderaan to be blown up with Leia's parents. I hope you're happy with yourself, Obi. Story wasn't very good throughout this whole show. Episodes, they could have easily removed the whole Reva story arc, and I think the show would have actually worked better under its 6-episode constraint, focusing more on Obi-Wan himself instead of focusing on Reva. And it was so predictable 99.9% of the times, especially with Reva. We all knew, everybody watching. I literally saw it all on Reddit. I was on Reddit pages. Yeah, I admit that. Everybody was like, yeah, Reva's gonna get redeemed. Something's gonna happen. And that's exactly what happened. She's technically, after episode 6, not a bad guy. I was honest. I'm gonna be honest here. At the beginning of episode 6, I said, I'm glad she's alive, so I can watch her die again. It sounds evil, it sounds cruel, I know. I just do not like her character. She's so annoying, and there's nothing better than watching the death of an annoying character. Come on, don't say you don't like that. Don't lie, don't leave me alone. And then they let her live, and then they let her save Luke, and they did kind of a Wanda thing where it's like, oh, you did a slightly okay thing here. You're a good guy. That's not what defines it. No, it kind of is. You kind of, as an inquisitor, you killed many families. And I'm sorry, where's the Punisher right now? He should be showing up at any second to take Reva out. So the positives were essentially Vader and some things that they showed Obi-Wan's power. The lightsabers were also pretty sexy. That is literally like it for the positives. When thinking of this show, the first thing that comes to mind is, again, what I said right before me and my sister watched it, which was, how could they screw up a show like this? They screwed it up, and they screwed it up bad. There will be people who are like, what are you talking about? This is like this top-notch show right here. This is an A+ TV show. This is one of the best TV shows to do it. This is way better than Book of Boba Fett and on par with The Mandalorian. What are you talking about? If you like it, that's great for you, but I know a trend where literally anything that goes into Disney's hands, Disney will screw it up. Just take any MCU movie. The Eternals was... I actually watched Doctor Strange 2. And my sister walked by me, and she said, what do you think? And I said, it's okay. It's like, it's obviously nowhere near none of the original MCU movies. It's sad I have to class MCU movies like that. And I know Disney owned the MCU before, but now more than ever has Disney stuck their little paws within the MCU. Now, you can tell every single thing is so controlled by Disney. You can tell when Star Wars has been taken hold by Disney and when they're doing what their master bids them. And the same with Marvel. You can tell when Disney's telling them, hey, you can't do this, you gotta do this, you gotta make this, you gotta do it like this because I said so. I should give this show about a 4 or 3 out of 10, but I'm gonna give it a 5 because there were some parts of it that I did enjoy. But the amount of times I'm getting up and screaming at my TV because of how dumb a TV show or a movie is, it's getting ridiculous. In Moon Knight, there were times I had to do that. In Book of Boba Fett, there were times I had to do that. I mean, in Doctor Strange, there were times I did that. The only good Marvel movie of recent times that I can think of, and when I say good, I mean, Black Widow's okay. But I'm talking about better than Black Widow. I'm talking about 9 out of 10 stuff. 8 out of 10, even. But the only good movie recently was Spider-Man, and even that one had stuff that had me rolling my eyes. The disrespect of certain characters like Doctor Strange. There are things from this movie that don't line up with the last movie. The only thing that I can say positively about the entertainment industry is that I am happy that we're getting to a point where soon people who are creative enough, who have original ideas, they will be the ones in power. And I know that's coming soon because single media monopoly, Disney, Paramount, Universal, every single one of them is literally, because I saw this on a pitch meetings video, they're running out of things to milk. They're running out. They've tapped out Jurassic World. They're not getting that thing back, especially after Dominion. Everybody in the world is getting sick of it. Everybody saw the trailer for Dominion, and even I did. And I'm a sucker for nostalgia. I'm a sucker for it. And even I saw it, and when I saw the original 2 cast members, I was like, I rolled my eyes and said, I'm not watching this. Because I knew how it was going to be. I knew it was going to be absolutely terrible. And with no surprise, look at the reviews. It's absolutely terrible. Keep coming up with ideas, people. If you have an idea or something that you think is going to be good, try to do something with that idea. Because people are waking up. They want original entertainment. They want something. I know I want something original. Every time I see a trailer on YouTube, an ad that's playing, if it's not related to a sequel, a reboot, a remake, any of it, I'm all over it. I'm watching it and I'm like, can this be the next movie that I will be completely into for the rest of my life? It's crazy to me to think that there was a time that we made original movies like Back to the Future, like Terminator, like Star Wars. Star Wars was an original concept once. Even though it was based off of a book, it still was an original enough concept. Nowadays, we are literally just making sequels and remakes and baiting on that. I know I'm getting caught in another tangent. I have to end the video. I really hated it. Disney, you're making me pull my hair out here. Come on. This was easy. I could have stinking done it better. Any single person who watched the Clone Wars could have done it better. Remember to like, subscribe, comment. Tell me if you think this show is good or not. Remember, there's 2 things I know. I know that Jesus is king and JT knows best. See y'all next time.